Good morning, everybody. This is Mike Johnsrud of PCI Midwest. We'd like to welcome you to today's podcast. Today's podcast, our guests are Tom Kelley from Gage Brothers, Precast Concrete in Sioux Falls, as well as Steve Jastram, President of Architecture Incorporated in Sioux Falls. Tom, I'd like you to give a little introduction of yourself, if you would, please.
Sure. Again, my name's Tom Kelley. I'm CEO of Gage Brothers Concrete Products, Inc. And we are a 100-plus-year-old company which manufactures a full line of precast, both architectural and structural. I've been with the company for 40 years, through engineering and estimating and project management up to operations VP about 30 years ago, and president the last 17 years or so. So, and we have the, I'll turn it over, let Steve introduce himself as well.
Yeah, and I'm Steve Jastram. I'm a partner and an architect at Architecture Incorporated, and I too have been here for 40 years, enjoying every moment of it. We're an architectural and interior design firm with offices in Sioux Falls and Rapid City, and we do extensive work in education and medical field as well.
Wonderful.
All right.
I have a lot of experience that we have here today between the two of you, 80 plus years. That's fantastic. Well, the topic of today is, I guess where we're going to start is performing arts centers. And maybe, Tom, if you'd like to start this discussion, that'd be great to take it from there.
Certainly would. I mean, we've had the good fortune to be a part of many performing arts centers in the region, from several high school ones to some collegiate ones, and currently are working on two different ones with a private Lutheran school and of course the fourth, Sioux Falls High School, Jefferson High School. We're in the midst of doing shop drawings with that. So we've always had back since the beginning, Arch Inc. in 1977, so they're a pretty new company when I got here, and we've always prided ourselves. I mean, construction and design is all about collaboration, and we just have had a wonderful relationship with Arch Inc. from the get-go, and just work well together. And it's been this is a hard business, and when you can do it and have the relationships and have some fun along the way, it really makes life a lot more interesting. And we've certainly had some fun along the way with Arch Inc. Performing arts centers are, and you can jump in anytime, Steve, but they're kind of a unique animal from the perspective that they're usually quite tall, which really lends them well to a precast solution. And they're always a lot more involved. I mean, between all the fly lofts and catwalks and all the goings on, they get to be pretty busy and fairly complex structures from an engineering standpoint and from a detailing standpoint. So they do require some significant coordination between all the trades and the architects. And what's really been nice with Arch Inc. all these years is they always reach out to us, and we get involved very early, which always makes projects more successful, being involved with them at the early stages. Then we can provide the dream the architect wants, and the function that the owner wants, and the efficiency that the taxpayers demand. So it really works well. So I go ahead, Steve, and you can certainly chime in on your thoughts.
Sure. Well, the performing arts centers, as you mentioned, are a very complicated building type because of all of the acoustical and also the theater requirements to make it a well-functioning performing arts center or theater. And as everyone knows, there are always tall spaces, so you get all the intricacies of theater connections and the structural requirements for them, plus the building height. Insulated precast panels are a very logical solution to a performing arts centers because of all of the items we talked about here previously. And yes, it's very important we find out all the theater requirements, connections, structural loads, etc., and then we can coordinate that with Gage Brothers in the early drawing process to make sure it's all bid, so that structurally they know what they're bidding, and of course it fits when you put it in the wall. So the early coordination that we've been able to do with Gage Brothers has been very, very helpful. Not mainly for the connection of all the theater specialty things and acoustical specialty things, but also just for the erections sequence that needs to occur in a very logical manner. That's why we enjoy using precast panels.
Yeah, and the function of them it's really nice because you can get the architectural piece of it done, but because they're taller structures, they usually crank some wind, and they usually end up being the wind resistant elements on many of these structures as well. And they, of course, due to the size and weight of, they become good elements to resist the global wind on a project too. So they serve multi-functions. So that's what makes it pretty nice. And we're really fortunate here in Sioux Falls too. Besides Arc Inc., we have several good structural firms in town that Arc Inc. engages with that also fit in well with the team too, because they're always a integral part of the overall team. So we've had some fun.
Tom,
go ahead.
Tom, it's kind of interesting how you talk about teams and projects that you have going on. What projects in specific? I know that you guys have done a lot together, Gage Brothers and Arc Inc. projects, a lot of them, but are there several of these performing arts centers that you have worked on in the past or currently have going on now?
Yeah, I mean, it started way back when Brandon, and it was fun there because I also served as the building committee chair for the district then. So I got to help represent the owner on that, and then be the precaster too. So that was kind of fun. That was kind of the first one that I worked with Steve on. But we've done some pretty iconic ones. I mean, the real fun one, and Steve might cringe a little bit because we had some some outside partners there and stuff, and it was really interesting. But the SDSU Performing Arts one, the Oscar Larson Performing Arts up at SDSU is really an iconic facility. I mean, with all the recital halls and practice pieces besides the main facility, I think that's just really iconic. And that's been open for, 6 months or better here. They're having some nice performances up there. And currently, we're building the Lutheran school one here in town, but we're also in the midst of doing shop drawings on the new Jefferson High School, which is a $70 million new high school and the fourth public school in Sioux Falls. That's going in the northwest part of our city, where we don't really have any high school in that part of the city. So it's so that we're just in the midst of that, and Steve could probably talk more on that one because I know he's been in we've had some coordination meetings of late, and that one's starting to go together pretty good. We're not that far away from getting into actually making that one. So.
Well, and I guess maybe what ties into this, what we're talking about, yes, we've done quite a few theaters, performing arts centers, but they've visually on the outside, they've all looked a little different. Each project has its own character, and that's what we've enjoyed about using with Precast, because we can have different exterior textures, colors, and facades, and specifically like the current one underway with Jefferson High School. A big majority of that Performing Arts Center walls have the thin set brick veneer on it, which gives it a nice, very nice look and texture, along with sandblasted finish. So, yeah, we've enjoyed every one of these Performing Arts Centers have always looked a little different. Even the one like at Sioux Falls Lutheran School that's going up now, there's this kind of a sloped roof system. We have different depths and thicknesses of the panels in different textures and incorporating some colored glass windows that go with it. It's almost more of a church feel than it is just a basic performing arts center, but it's both. And so the flexibility of Precast and the texture and colors on the outside are really nice to use and implement with each project.
Some other fun that we've had on several of them, we've taken the school logo and recessed and cast that in the panels. So, and we've had some fun with doing that over the years as well too. Just a little added flair to show what Precast could do. Steve also talked about this thin brick, and of course, I think we've talked about that in previous podcasts. But we'd be hard pressed structurally to take the conventional way to build a masonry wall and then build a brick veneer on it for the heights that these buildings are. That would be a big challenge. So the fact that we can still give a warm brick look, in the residential communities that these schools go into, is important, and they are all really nice additions to the community that surrounds them. Arc Inc.'s done a wonderful job with the design and mixing it up and making it feel like it belongs in the neighborhood. So,
they're big buildings, and it is a task to try to bring the scale down to the neighborhood. That's true.
For sure.
So, of the projects that you folks have done together, Tom, one of the ones that comes to mind to me is the Canton Performing Arts Center. Can you give us a little bit of information and how the two of your companies work together on that one?
Sure. That's a 40,000 square foot facility. This is about 20 minutes south of Sioux Falls. Big performing arts center for the size of the community, I always thought, but they have really embraced it and are tickled with it from every feedback we got. I mean, 1,000 seats for a smaller community is a pretty significant facility, and I think it probably is similar in size to what we did in the first one in Brandon, but it's Terry Gerber is really happy with it, the superintendent down there. So maybe Steve can talk more about Canton, but that's a little bit that I know about it.
Well, the Canton School District did not have a real nice performing arts center to perform in for their students, but they've always excelled in all of their performing arts: music, vocal, band, orchestra, and they've really needed and enjoying this new performing arts center where, inside all the sight lines work great to the performers and the acoustics of the room work good. But again, to do that for 1,000-seat theater, you need volume, you need height, you need width, long spans of roof structure, etc. And the precast panels are just a great solution to do that, with all the structural requirements that go with it. And then we incorporated on the outside some different color and different texture to give it, again, to break up the scale of a huge building to fit next to their school. So, yeah, it turned out very well, and it's a great addition to any community when you can really have a performing arts center where you let all the students or bring in entertainment for the community. It's a good way of life to increase life services for your community when you can do that.
As I sit here and think about that, we're slowly coming probably close to the end of this podcast. I sit and I'm wondering about these additional projects that Gage and Arc Inc. have done together over the years. And I'm wondering, I'd love to be able to try to put another podcast together with the two of you or people from your companies, because I think there's a whole lot of discussion about these other projects. I guess maybe just wrapping up, Tom and Steve, if there's something that you'd like to let us know about your companies or future projects that you maybe have in the works, that'd be wonderful.
Well, I think, Steve probably talk about the one in the works because he'd know about them before me, but but yeah, 150 projects is no small thing. That's tremendous. When I saw that number, it even surprised me. But Steve briefly touched a little bit on the medical profession too, and of course there's another one that's challenging and complex projects as well. And we've done a number of those with Sanford and other organizations around it. I know I sit on their board, so I know that there's some more projects coming down the line in those areas, and I'm sure Arc Inc. will be part of those as well. So it's just like I said, it's been a lot of fun, and I can't believe that we've both been at it for 40 years. That doesn't seem possible, but it's a good relationship. So we've enjoyed it.
Well, to add to that, we've really enjoyed it too, and time flies, Tom, especially when you're having fun. But we've, what we've really enjoyed, and I just want to add again, working with Gage Brothers, is it's so nice to sit down in the early design process and brainstorm together how to do this in an efficient way. And the collaboration we have with them is what's been so wonderful and made the project successful. And even like we have a very nice new bank going up in Sioux Falls, a 5-story bank with Precast with granite on it, and it's been so nice working with Gage to make sure we're detailing it correctly, and the granite facade again just gives that whole building a different look, which it should be from the others. But again, we've enjoyed the working relationship through many years, and we know that it'll continue.
Yeah, I'd forgotten First Premier. That'll be a landmark facility as well too, right on Minnesota Avenue. So very, very visual, very significant location on that, and that'll be a very significant project and one of the taller ones up and down Minnesota Avenue. So we're really looking forward to that. In fact, we cast just this week the first shear walls for that project. So we just started casting that this week.
Maybe here in the near future, we'll be able to do a podcast on that one with the two of you. That would be wonderful. Sure. Steve, Tom, I thank you very much for your time today. This has been a wonderful discussion. 80 years of history with the two of you. Fantastic. So with that, I say thank you for your time. We appreciate it very much, and hope that we're able to do this again in the future.